Hello everyone, welcome back to AJ English Height, and today we are going with the NCERT English new included chapter, the Ancient Education System of India. Actually, they have included this chapter this year only, and definitely most of the students will not be able to get that in their books. So better that you should arrange the text from somewhere so that you should be able to actually read the text properly and should be able to give the answers according to your comprehension. So here I'm starting the chapter in the introduction only, as this actually the chapter starts. They had given here, did you know that India has been the center of learning since ancient time? How did we come to know about this? Definitely India is one of that country which is related to the basic education of the world. And yes, it happens that we have the root of education. There are inscriptions on stones and copper, palm leaf records, and are scriptures evidences of the historic origins of learning in India. Today we follow an education system in which learning takes place through syllabus, curricula, textbooks, and assessments practices. Have you ever thought what they were be like in the past? So here they are telling the same things and we used to think sometime. Today we are available with everything. Actually, we are following a particular syllabus for a particular class. Apart from that, we have a particular curriculum to follow that syllabus. We are using textbook. Our teacher are assessing us, and like that only they are giving us assessment. But earlier in the past, definitely our education system was not like this. There's much difference between this education system and the education system we were following in the past actually. So here in the introduction only they had given something. I'm reading the introduction and after that I'll try to explain few of the points. In the introduction they had given only that you must have heard or read that travelers from various regions having different climates and culture begins to visit part of India from early time, as India was actually under the British rule. And before that also many people, definitely many foreigners, they used to visit India, and all over the world they used to come here, and they had left some of their knowledge, some of their skills, and some of their teachings also. And yes, being a democratic country, not that time, but still those kinds of people, those old people of India even were ready to accept the good things of other. So they had inherited the good qualities of those foreigners even. Further they are saying that the education system of ancient time was regarded as a source for the knowledge, traditions and practice that guided and encouraged humanity. So definitely it is the difference. Main difference is that where that time actually our education system was not giving us only knowledge, but it was giving us some morals also. And without those moral, and person cannot be educated. No person can be educated without those morals. So definitely some traditional practices were included according to the different religions. Apart from that, many other kinds of knowledge book which just enrich your knowledge regarding your religion, also regarding your society, and definitely regarding the mankind. They had included such kinds of book. So here actually the introduction of the chapter ends, but further they are telling us the salient feature of ancient education system. What were the main feature of educational system which our ancestors were following that time? They are saying that from the time of Rig Veda onwards, our ancient education system evolved over the period and focused on the holistic development of the individual by taking care of both the inner and the outer self. So as I had told you, I just had told you that they actually, the teachers of that time, they used to work for inner self also. They used to actually prepare their students from inside. They are not giving them the knowledge which will work outside only, and they will not relying on the exams only. They were following the Rig Veda, and they were actually cultivating the inner strength of the people, of their students. So that was the main motive of that ancient education. Apart from that, they are saying the system focused on the moral, definitely, as I had explained. Apart from that, physical also, sports day. We used to just follow the sports even in today modern education system, but that time also some physical activities actually they used to prefer, but not like that. They used to give some proper work to the students which give them some physical exercise. Apart from that, some spiritual like meditation and intellectual exercise also. Apart from that, their silent feature was that they used to give the morals to the students like truthfulness, honesty, helpfulness. So these were the traits they want to cultivate in the students. At the end, they are saying you can see that education in India has a heritage of being pragmatic, achievable, and complementary of life. So that time actually people used to get actually development by doing good to others because they were trained to do that. They get the education so that the mankind, the humanity should be benefited out of that education. They were not actually taking education just for themselves. Apart from that, the next point it is given here, that is the sources of education. What were the sources of education that time? As nowadays we used to go to the schools, we used to live in the hostels. Apart from that, many training centers are going on, many academies are going on. That time, what were the education sources? So here they had mentioned that the ancient system of education was the education of Vedas. They used to give education from the Vedas. They used to follow that as a syllabus. Apart from that, Brahmanas, Upanishad and Dharmastras. These were few actually books which are considered to be very much important in Hindu religion. They were the basic points actually. They were the main source of education for the students. You must have heard the names of Aryabhat. Yes, so who didn't hear the name of the Aryabhat? Panini. Apart from that, Katyayana and Patanjali. These are definitely the knowledgeable person who had given their best in different fields. Some had given their best in mathematics. Apart from that, some in Ayurveda, some in some other field. So these were the famous knowledgeable person of that time, and they had already played a part in ancient education system also. Apart from that, Katyayana and Patanjali, their writings and the medical treatise of Charak and Shushrata were also some of the sources of learning. So they had written some books on Ayurveda, and still these books are available actually, and they are still helping the medical field. Apart from that, distinctions was also drawn between Shastras and Kavyas. Sources of learning were also drawn from various disciplines such as Itihas. Apart from that, logic was also one included in the syllabus. Apart from that, Mimamsa is there. Mimamsa means interpretations. They used to just prefer that a student must be skilled in every field. He should have knowledge of the medical also. He should have knowledge of social equipments also. Apart from that, he should have some basic knowledge of the society in which he is living, so that at the time of need he should stand for the society. So that's why they used to train their students in that way. Apart from that, physical education, that was one of the important topic of that time. That was one of the important subject, you may say, and it was an important curricular area also. Students were actually, it is compulsory for the students, they used to get actually participate in that area. And pupils, students, they used to participate in games like Krida, they had mentioned here. And apart from that, some kind of exercise they used to follow daily for acquiring martial skills. Apart from that, they used to follow the martial skills for the wars also, so that at the time of that time when if someone is attacking their country at the time of war, they should stand as soldiers also. So they were skilled almost in every field. They used to make our ancient education system, they used to make the student a complete human being. Apart from that, in order to assess pupils' learning, Shastratha were organized. Pupil at an advanced stage of learning guided younger people, and they're also excited the systems of peer learning, like you have group and peer work. They also encourage the teamwork. Actually, peer work here means the teamwork. They used to give their best to do that, so that they should have that kind of morals, that everything is there to share, and if we will work together, so definitely we'll get success. So that's why teamwork is very important to just give as a teaching to the students. Apart from that, education system of India, it is a kind of way of life, as they had mentioned here. That is our first comprehension check only, and as we'll go with the second comprehension check, you will come to know about the Vihars and the university. Vihars were a kind of actually residential schools of our ancient times, and what were the university established at that time, and still they are existing somehow. Still we Indians are following the syllabus and the curricula which they had established. Our ancient actually educationists had established. So many of the things are still included in our syllabus. So yes, the Jataka tales, accounts given by Xuan Zheng. Definitely he was a traveler. He was not belonging to India. He was a traveler, but he left some of his goods here, which we are following nowadays. I King, as well as other sources, tell us that kings and society took active interest in promoting education. As a result, many famous educational centers came into exercise. Among the most notable universities they evolved during this period were situated at Takshila. Yes, who didn't know about that Takshila University? If you will go actually for searching that, so you will get a great history of that Takshila University, and you will be amazed to see that these are in India. These were in India. We are following such a great culture. Apart from that, Nalanda University is there. You must have heard about it. Vallabhi, then Vikramashila. There are many such kinds of university. These were the main university they have mentioned there. Apart from that, these institutions cater to need to advanced level students. We are giving our best actually to the students nowadays. We are thinking if we'll spend money, and definitely if we'll pamper the child, so he will get the proper education. But no, our ancient education system was not that. They were making the students hard working. They used to stress on the exercise also, not only physical but mental exercise also. So that's why they had established such a strong based educational system. In this section, we'll give you glimpses of two universities of ancient periods. So yes, I'm going to describe those two universities, Takshila and Taxila. These two universities are mentioned here in your chapter. In ancient time, I'm going to tell about the Takshila University first of all. Takshila was a noted center of learning. That was a center of learning means the main source of learning that was, including religious teaching of Buddhism. They were providing the teaching of Buddhism also for several centuries. So actually it's a kind of, you can say, missionaries also, religious also. But thing is that everyone was actually able to get admission there if they are having interest. It continued to attract students from around the world until its destructions in the 5th century CE. It was known for its higher education, and curriculum comprised the study of ancient scriptures. So yes, later on it had seen actually a decline because of some reason, but before that, that was the center of learning, and it was providing the best education all over the, not only India but all over the world, you must say. The study of ancient scriptures, law, medicine, astronomy, military science, and the 18 silpas or arts. This kind of syllabus they were providing to the students, and they were making them actually trained. Takshila became famous as a place of learning due to the teachers' expertise. And yes, teachers were skilled actually. They used to work heartedly, wholeheartedly, and that was the reason that they were giving their 200% to the students, and their students were also taking names later on when they actually completed their education. So they took actually proper name and fame later on if they had mentioned, so definitely you will come to know about that. Then further, Takshila became famous as a place of learning due to its teacher exercise. So teachers had a proper role in making Takshila so much famous. Among its noted pupils were the legendary Indian grammarian. The name is Panini. Panini was the legend in grammar, and yes, he was a Takshila student. He was an expert in language and grammar and authored one of the greatest work of grammar called Astadhyay. So such kinds of book as like Astadhyay he had written, and he was actually expert of language. So Panini was related to the language, the literature in normal language you can say. Apart from that, one of the most renowned physician in India, skilled exponent of scars, that was also Chanakya. Chanakya was also studied from Takshila University. Students came to Takshila from Kashi, Kosala, Magad, and also from other countries. So yes, all over the countries, all over the world, students used to come to Takshila University for getting education. Definitely, what was the role of the teacher that I am going to explain here. Teachers had complete autonomy in all aspects, from selection of students to designing their syllabus. So yes, teachers were free actually to design their syllabus that time. They used to actually design the syllabus according to the need of the students also. If someone is weak, so they will just treat the students accordingly, they will give the syllabus accordingly. So means at that time actually much work was there with the teachers. They were not following a set pattern as we are following nowadays, but they are free to follow any of the syllabus for different kinds of students according to their need. Apart from that, when the teacher was satisfied with the performance of the students, the course concluded. And when actually the course will be completed, if the teacher is actually satisfied with the performance of the student. He would admit as many students as he liked and taught what the students were keen to learn. So teachers were actually totally free to take decisions about the students, about actually giving them education. So it's all in the hands of teacher only. No other authority used to be there, and that's why they were be able to perform their 100%. They didn't have to go according to someone else. Nalanda University is mentioned there, and Nalanda University is also one of the famous university, ancient Indian university it is. Nalanda, when Zhang visited it, was called Nala and was a center of higher learning of various subjects. So there also Nalanda University was providing various subject education, and the Chinese scholars well as world they were trained from this university. And apart from that, they are telling here that students at Nalanda studied the Vedas and were also trained in fine arts. They were telling them creativity also. They were just teaching them creativity. So in fine art, they were skilled. Apart from that, medicine, mathematics, astronomy, politics, and the art of warfare. So Nalanda University, it somehow inclined towards modern science, mathematics, and definitely the politics. So such kind of education they were providing through Nalanda University. Then the role of community, it is very much important. If community is there which is supporting you people, so definitely anything can be raised. So here role of community at that time, knowledge was considered scared and no fee was charged. So knowledge was actually the best thing to give if you want to do charity. So knowledge was the most precious thing which you can actually give in charity. So that time no fee was charged with any of the students. Contribution towards education were considered the highest form of donation, as I have told you. And the same time, the south of India, Agras, served the centers of learning and teaching. South Indian kingdoms also had other cultural institutions known as Gatika and Brahmapuri. So there are This Gatika, these Brahmapuri, these were the main centers of education even at that time. And what kind of community we had that time? That they were, students were eager to learn and teachers were eager to teach. They didn't get any charge. Students were there, those who used to give respect to the teachers because they are giving them the basic knowledge of not only of the society but of life. So such kind of community was there. They were attached with each other by their feelings and by the bond of respect. So no such kind of businesses were there in our ancient Indian culture. And at last they had given you the continuation of Indian education system. The Indian education system continued. Definitely it is still continuing, but it continued somehow, and in the middle it was at its peak. So here they are telling you the same, that in the form of ashramas, some residential kind of schools. You must have listened about that. That time in ancient India there used to be some ashramas where students had to stay, where they will just serve their teachers, and in return teacher will give them education which will definitely help them. So for that also a particular time period used to be there, and they will go there, they will learn everything about the medicines, about the science, about the mathematics, whatever their teacher know. And in return what they have to do, they will have to show their skills, that yes, they are prepared to serve the world, to serve the humanity. So this was all about our education system of India, ancient education of system, definitely. So this is a new included chapter and an important one. Some of the questions used to come here. That's it. I'm ending my video here only. Thank you so much.